my goodness. Oh, this was hair raising. I was so happy to do it. I was so happy they asked me, and so happy I did it. On the other hand, I had to do all my children as well. So I was back and forth between the both coasts, New York, LA, New York twice a week.
Right.
And that turned out to be a big schedule. But Cameron Matheson had done it this season before. So Cameron showed me the ropes, told me which flights to take. And I wanted to do it. I wanted so much to do it. And so then you're faced with a challenge and you want to be up to the challenge. I will say that every time, and now, I mean, I admire the way they produce Dancing with the Stars, because they change it up a little bit each season. And that
Yeah.
season, they were still announcing the name of your name, now dancing the cha-cha, this man with a British accent. And my heart would be pounding, because going back and forth all the time like that, for me, I never felt that I really had choreography in my body, as a dancer will say, you know, the way I should. At the same time, I wouldn't have traded the experience for anything. I was thrilled to be there. So much fun in hair and makeup. You know, the first day, you know, to go into that big place where they store some of the costumes.
Yeah.
It's like a kid in a candy store, this little girl's dream. Uh, but there are seamstresses who make those costumes by hand every week. The designer designs them. The assistants come with racks of Swarovski crystals. And this room full of these very talented seamstresses are there sewing. And when I would get off the plane early Saturday morning, the costume designer would just do a little tweaking. He wouldn't have to do that, but he saw all the details, which was phenomenal. The first day I was there, I was doing the cha-cha. I was doing two dances that season. The first night we had to do two dances. And with the cha-cha, they said, well, everyone went to the tanning. Everyone went to get tan. And I said, no, I have olive skin. I'll be fine doing the cha-cha. And they said, well, we can put Swarovski crystals up into your hairline and all of that. And I said, no, it's okay. Just give me a really smoky eye. I'll be fine. And I did the first night. Everybody else had been to tanning. I looked so washed out. Was ridiculous. So the next day I was like, where do I go for tanning? And what were you saying about Swarovski crystals into my hairline? Then I was like a monster. You couldn't stop. I just wanted those crystals on my eyes all the time. It's very
The
fun.
crystals are addicting, right?
Yes.
Would you ever do it again? Like if they did like another all-star season and your phone rang, would you ever go back?
I would. I think about that sometimes. I think I would.
Do you watch it now that like Tyra's the host? And I mean, it's changed a little bit.
It has changed. It has changed. I will tell you honestly, my husband and I are addicted to The Voice, and unfortunately, it's so sad that they're opposite each other. So we flip back and forth. But I'm not as conversant in Dancing with the Stars right now that I used to be.
Are you loving Ariana Grande on The Voice?
I love her on The Voice. She is adorable, and I mean, apart from being an amazing talent, she's so charming and so funny. I like her.
I think she's like a great addition for the show.
I agree.
Like she's really, would you ever, I know that he says that it's one of the greatest moments of his life and it's pretty much changed his career, as Andy Cohen interning at CBS interviewing you. When you look at like Andy Cohen, are you just like, can you believe what he's become? Like, I mean, he's done it, right?
I can believe it, because when he wrote me that letter, he was in college, and he wrote me a letter asking for an interview. And there was something about that letter. I called my publicist and I told her about the letter, and I said, I would like to have lunch with him. I would like that. She said, you do? I said, yeah. One of those days where I have a longer lunch hour, let's try to make that happen. So Andy came down, we met. The lunch hours weren't that long, but I said, do you like Mexican? Can we go to Santa Fe? It was within walking distance of the studio. And we did, and we had such a good time. And at that time he wanted to be a news anchor. He wanted to be an anchor. And I was sure he would be. I said, someday you're going to be the head of the London bureau, and I'm going to see you when you come back. I'm going to be watching you, Andy Cohen. I know you're going to do this. And then as time went on, he was an executive at CBS, and I would be at CBS doing a talk show or something, and I would run into Andy from time to time, but didn't really see him again until after All My Children, actually. And I met him at his office in New York, and I knew that I remembered our first meeting and going to Santa Fe. And I had a photo from us then, but I'd never thought that he would remember, because now he had done, all of the Housewives empire. And was in his office, and he has a big bulletin board behind. And there was the same picture that I have. And he told me, he said, you're the first and last chapter in my book. I had no idea. And was so adorable. How anybody ever got, it was the 80s when Andy and I met. How anybody got both of us with our hair in the same photo is kind of amazing.
It's an iconic picture, and the hair is very 80s.
Yes.
It's very 80s. Well, you do live in Long Island, and we have a Housewives of New York. So, I mean, if Andy Cohen called you and said, would you ever consider being a Real Housewife of New York, Susan?
Well, I would work for Andy anytime, any place. I never thought about being a housewife of anywhere, but I would give it a whirl. For Andy, of course, I would give it a whirl.
Are you like into do you watch any reality TV? Like, I know The Voice, the competitions. Do you get into any of the other stuff like the Kardashians, or are you ever just look at this reality juggernaut? I mean, I know it's been around for a minute, but it's really hit new heights in the past 5 to 10 years.
It really has, I know. And I understand that people can get very intrigued. I did check out the Kardashians. I do something called Celebrity Autobiography from time to time.
Well, I know that because I have seen you in it from time to
You
time.
have?
The Triad Theater, baby.
Oh, wow. Yes.
You've read Kim Kardashian's.
I have played Kim. Yes. And so I wanted to check out, how she is, because I was going to play her. And I could have my schedule has never been the same every day, every week. And so I have not been able to give into any kind of possible addiction. But I could see why people were hooked on Kardashians.
Don't go down that road, because it's a long road and it's very addicting. Yes.
My mother used to watch The Bachelor. And I used to say, but Mom, there's a lot of production going on, it's not all what you see. She just was hooked. She loved that. I found it kind of adorable that she was watching The Bachelor.
She's like, please don't tell me about the production. Just let me. It's like willful blindness. But you don't want to know.
Exactly.
Do you love doing celebrity autobiography and other things you've done, like on Broadway? Do you love a live audience?
I love a live audience. And Celebrity Autobiography we have done, in Guildhall and East Hampton, and different places around the New York area, and Broadway, actually. I always say last year. It wasn't. Everything is a year and a half or 2 years ago. And I love it. I get to play Ivana Trump, in her own words, and Elizabeth Taylor. At the same time, somebody's playing, you've seen it, so Eddie Fisher, somebody's doing Debbie Reynolds, and it's a wonderful Rashomon kind of thing. And it was the most, the most known around the world love affair ever. And so really fun to do that. And I loved playing Liz Taylor, loved playing Ivana Trump, loved playing Kim Kardashian. So yes, Celebrity Autobiography gives all of us a chance to really stretch. And also I love doing comedy. So really fun to do that. Actually made my Broadway debut in Annie Get Your Gun. And that was a thrill of a lifetime. Work with the original company.